Hey, good evening. Hello. And here is another nightly recap, and it's the 16th of evening, October. Wow, the month is almost done, and then the year is almost done. Then we're back to another new year. Hey, if you're not doing anything with your life right now, please do something, get up, change it. It's quite important because the days go by, the years go by, and before you know it, it's another year done. So it's a lot more than just being motivated. You've got to get up and do something, okay? Be comfortable being uncomfortable. But anyway, back to why we're here. So, as usual, today was quite eventful or uneventful, whichever way I can say. And I'm sharing my screen at the same time. Okay, so here we are. We do have it here. Now, looking at what we have here today, the 16th of October. I mean, I did say it's an October, didn't I? But again, nobody can call the market. I think it's been fairly eventful. It depends on what side of the market you are playing. And start off with the cues. If we look at this week alone, the past few couple of days, the queue's actually been uneventful, which is good. I mean, if you know what you are doing, I have been, I don't know, I can't call the market top, but I have been shorting this market for a while now because um, it's a position, it's a hedge, it's just been, oh, it's an insurance as well. It's just been going. So I wasn't really too bothered. I think what I should say is I didn't get enough insurance for myself. But anyway, I didn't get enough hedge. So yeah, I've got to say this market has been, and as we can see it right there, the it's been I wouldn't say collapsing, but I just thought this market could do no wrong. But we can see it right there. And yeah, people have been selling off. I think earlier today, just about when the markets opened, we there was an information that President Trump will be making a big crypto announcement at 3 o'clock Eastern time, and boom, everyone ran amok. Everyone ran ragged, really. If you look at Bitcoin, it just, you know, started selling off. And again, like I said, the hangover from last week Friday is the beginning of wisdom. And as you can see right there, this is not getting a headway. So hasn't been going anywhere right now. Also, I mean, to be fair, it's very, very, I mean, I'm gonna look at crude oil. Crude oil, again, been talking about this like stagflation. This has actually, crude oil has been extensively selling off, from the highs of 66 just about 3 weeks ago. We are now reaching for the support level right here. But, again, the macro supports an oil crush, and that's what we're getting, really. So also, I thought the dollar, which, the dollar was almost making a head. But again, when we had Jay Powell, he spoke yesterday and it was fairly dovish, and then down goes the dollar. So, which brings me back to the question I asked yesterday: where do people run to? Bitcoin has been high, but now collapsing. The stock market is high again. I wouldn't call it collapsing, but tearing off a little bit. Jesus have mercy. Gold has been going and going. It just wouldn't catch a break. Where does it stop? I mean, I did think about 4,800. It was just a random figure I pulled up my head. But I think this is now way overbought. I think somebody in the group said, look, gold RSI has been extremely overbought for about a year now. But what can you do on a monthly time frame? The indicators in the mud, that sometimes you just have to step away. For me right now, I just thought, do you know what? Just hold cash if you can, or position somewhere which you think is fairly safe, but where can you go? Um, One thing I noticed about the markets is that the key the key market stocks, they started shifting. The market started shifting towards them. I wouldn't exactly call it a rotation, but if that's what it is, that's what it is. However, Today was a different one, and almost everything was down today. So you can see this has been stuck at 89 for a while now. I think Walmart's, I'm talking about the real value. Of course, Walmart was up, but it came down. Even though today, though, it looks like Nvidia was up, but it wasn't enough to lift the market. So you can see everything tearing off for a little bit. Wow. Yep. There you go. Even Apple as well. So the majority, I think, was Palantir. What opportunity? I think it was Palantir. Or oh yeah, it all closed down negative. So people were like, what is going on? I mean, what I tend to say is the market does not need a reason to sell off. So people tend to think, why is the market selling up? Look, the market doesn't need a reason to sell off. And that's one thing we all need to be wary of. So just quickly checking something. Yeah. So back to where are we? So let me just look at the next thing on the notes is it's quite strange actually, but if you're going to look at gold and silver, or just looks gold. Gold and silver year to date. Gold has been on a tear. Gold has been about 53%, while silver has been 76%. It's just manic where it's going. So I saw something else about this stagflation. We don't exactly know where we are. The average price for a new car in the US has just topped 50,000. It looks like money is available, but the dollar is getting weaker and weaker. So you can't really. But TLT calls for the last cycle is paid in the hundreds and percentage. Again, just talked about real economic stuff, which has been moving the past few days. Nobody knows where the top is. The dip buyers are still buying Nvidia aggressively, AMD, Amazon. Is that a good idea? I can't say. But let's talk about the quantum. Spaghetti. What happened to Rigetti Pizza? Voila! That was a great time to talk QBTS. I know they're gonna buy the top. Come on, they haven't lost their shirts. QBTS again down aggressively. Oklo down. So we're talking about the key favorites. They all came down. And that's one thing about these guys. Look, these guys have done 17 stairs to the upstairs. If you are buying them at that point, look, be ready to lose it all. That's just something. Be able to time these things, on ONDS, some of the stocks that looks like they cannot catch a break. They're all collapsing, all crushing LSC. It's literally anything is driving this momentum stock. This market is going down. Veritone did a great 56% yesterday. Look at that. It's shaved off 22% from it. Even Clean Spark. We talking about anything crypto related, momentum related. They are all shaving their positions. So you've got to be wary and be careful. This market has got a very short fuse and it can blow anytime. I mean, are we at the top? I don't know. Even the hymns which I called yesterday, which did amazing yesterday, that tethered today as well off. So yeah, you've got to be careful. Okay. In fact, one thing is you need to understand the dangers of the quantum and all speculatives. The danger is when these guys are going to drop, they're going to drop by a lot. So yes, they can pump, they can drop, but when they drop, they will drop by a lot. So that's one thing you got to be careful with. Talking about the drone, the quantum, the sparks, they all respected and obeyed the law of gravity today. Speaking of AI, I think one thing, the one quote I read today was about AI has been overblown. There's been mass unemployment, but AI will not come from for another couple of days in terms of being introduced and being ingressed into the system. The company, someone talked about the company he worked for, they got tens of millions trying to get a bus to move the beans from one of the injection molding machines to another, but it's just never seen it work. We might as well, for a fraction of the cost, hire someone else, get him off the street, pay him a real living wage. And of course, he will be a better off person, be able to look after his family, pay wages, and pay some form of tax. So this will be a few sectors like programming and taxi driving, but 90% of jobs will still be safe, at least for some time. And that's one thing we need to be grateful for, really. I was looking at Adobe again today, and I thought that former triple top or triple bottom, I thought it was about 330. But because of the entire market's weakness today, I couldn't pull the trigger. I thought I'll watch that a bit more for now. I think they just eating their lunch. Anything AI is eating their lunch. Likewise, CRM. CRM actually had some projection, earnings projection today, which is good. I mean, you can still see it's still green. And, this is the company saying that they're better than Palantir. Look, I don't really know the workings of the CRM. I don't know if they're better or not, but that's just something to be wary of in that instance. So looking at CRM, but they also talked about a massive share buyback. But when you look at the maths, it doesn't exactly look like it's a big amount compared to the market cap. So it doesn't look as interesting as I would like, really. Yes, we still have the government shutdown today, uh, which is still carries on, really. What else? What else? What else? What else? I think I posted a few things today. Yeah. So people also, they've been very easy on China stocks recently. I think there's just that thing there, Taiwan, is that going to happen? It could be an implosion. Of course, also Russian stocks, um, they just been going ahead. It just seems like there's nothing anymore. There was a Russian stock I was tracking for a while. I just can't remember now what it was, if I have it here. They actually did very well today. I don't think I have it. It's listed in the UK anyway, but it's Russian. I believe it's a Russian company or Ukrainian actually, I would have thought. But yeah, no, I don't have it anymore. I was tracking it. Also, yeah, talked about the leverages which were introduced yesterday. Ah, if you're margin or leverage ETS, you've got to remember. I think there was a story that came up with the TVIX, which got shut down when the VIX reached. That was about 20 years ago. It just got shut down because it just wasn't sustainable. So I think my advice with this leverage ETFs is they're better off used as shorting specific stocks rather than going long, and you don't want to keep them overnight. I think many people don't know how to use them. Okay. Also, fun fact today is that the S&P 500 is now closed. What was that yesterday? Closed 50-day moving average for 116 consecutive trading days, which is the third longest streak going back to 1990. So between 1995 and 2007 were longer. So 1995, 2007 were the longest streaks for the S&P that's been going on consecutive, where it's been closing on for above the 50-day moving average. So it's 116 as at yesterday, or as at today, this morning. That's the fun fact right there. So today isn't really there isn't really much there today other than yeah. Also, we had Salesforce and Google, they expanded partnerships, CRM buyback, which I mentioned, which is, I think is about 6 billion really. 8.7% per year is the goal. But again, also looking at the market sector, many software application companies for the past year have just been down, down, down. Yeah, talked about Adobe. So I think for me, probably based on my experience, I probably will be holding mutual fund for a few years as just a bit of some diversification. You do have the compound annual growth rate return of about 6, 7%, which is very hard to be over 7 years. I mean, I think that's just one area to be on the safety aspect. Also, talked about the real economy. I just want to share the the heat map for today so you can see what it looks like. Again, I'm still tracking the key ones I said I will be tracking. Why? Because when the market says it's go time, or when I see it's go time and it's consistent like we saw today, then I'm gonna hit. So let's just quickly look at so yeah, today not much events except you are in a short. So let me just share the You can see it right now. Got it. Okay. So if you look at this right here, there you go. So as you can see, this is the heat map for today's market. Um, like I said again, fairly uneventful. Most of them were quite red. Nvidia played ball today. Let's make it yellow. So yeah, Nvidia played ball, zero point 0.6 AVGO, but everything else just succumbs to the law of gravity. Look at Eli Lilly, Amazon, Apple. So, if you look at, I think one thing I had to pick out today, especially, is the fact that the entire financial services were down. And if the entire financial services are down in earnings, that's telling you a lot because they tend to start with the earnings. And if the entire sector is down, that is telling you a lot. So I kind of feel like that might be one of the reasons why the market is already succumbing, but we shall see because I think the key turning point for this quarter will be the third week in October, which we're hitting next week. And this week things start heating up. We've been looking forward to this week and next week. It hasn't really started off well with the entire market selling off. But if you are able to position accordingly, I mean, earnings mostly a gamble, but if you're able to position accordingly, then you will be good. So that's all for tonight, really. Like I said, fairly uneventful day. But if you know how to play your cards right, play your cards well, you got to know when to be in a position. You got to know when not to be in positions. If you need to understand the market goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways. There's some positions you have to go short. Sometimes you have to go long. But all the same way, you need to know when to. I mean, cash is a position, and that's just the way it goes. Until tomorrow, I shall see you on the field. Have a good night. Trade well.